Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of And Now You Know with Bette and Julz. I'm Bette.
And I'm Julz.
And this is a take 2 for today, since we just recorded an entire 30-minute episode and realized that we never hit record.
It's a work in progress. We're getting it figured out, though. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
we just shared some amazing stories. I thought it was pretty awesome, but we're just gonna have to remember. Yeah, it was just rehearsal. We'll try to speed it up a little this time. We were getting a little long-winded there.
Yeah,
but anyway.
we were getting squirreled and pulling in all kinds of things that didn't necessarily go with what we were talking about.
Very true. So let's talk about the topic at hand here. We're talking about how old is too old and how young is too young. That's what we're talking about today. So go ahead, Julz, kick things off.
All right. So the reason that I feel like I can talk about this is because when I was in my 20s, I did date some guys that were 20, 25 years older than me. And my mother's hair set on fire, and she did not like it at all. There was one guy, I'm going to say I was 24. And he was probably 45. So 20, in between 20 and 25 years older than me.
That's a lot.
I had worked with him in a previous job, and he was a little flirty, but we were both married, and nothing happened. And then fast forward a few years, we had both gotten divorces, and he reached out to me. Now, he lived probably about 4 or 5 hours away from me, so it was a long-distance relationship. I didn't know the importance of not doing long-distance at that point in my life. But we dated just really for a couple of months. But the last time I saw him, we left kissing and, oh my gosh, I had such a great time and can't wait to see you next time. And he said, call me when you get home, because I was driving home. I get home, call him, and he's like, I can't see you anymore. I'm pretty sure that my mother called him and told him to back off, or that she was going to kill him. She was going to kill him, but
maybe not in those exact words.
She was going to make life very difficult for him. And I never saw him again. And then fast forward to, I moved to Dallas, and I dated another older gentleman. And I fell fast and hard for him. I loved him. He had money, and he really wined and dined me and took me on surprise trips to places I'd never been before, took me just to some, 5-star restaurants, and it was very glamorous, which, to a 25, 26-year-old girl from small town USA, I mean, shoot, the fanciest restaurant I went to was called K-Bob's, and they had a buffet. So it was like pretty cool. But my mother was sitting there going, do you understand that when you're 40, he's going to be 65, and when you're 65, he's going to be dead? And do you understand that in between all those years that he's going to get things like prostate cancer? And I mean, my mom was... He's not going to be able to get it up. I mean, she was telling me all the things.
Yeah.
She was like, you don't understand what aging does to a man's body. And I blew it off. But we didn't last. He broke up with me. And, praise the Lord that I was,
Dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
So I'm sure my mother was on her knees begging God to make that end, and God answered her prayers. And I'm thankful now too. Listen, he's a really nice guy, but I'm thankful that didn't end up.
Yeah.
But y'all know my record. I probably would have divorced him anyway, so it wasn't going to last.
Well, I think the part that is so interesting that we were talking about is, the stigma around it, right?
Yeah.
And it's, if a woman is dating someone younger, and look, to each their own, do what you want. If you want to be with whoever, but this is just kind of our perspective on the whole thing.
And I'm speaking from experience.
Yes, exactly. So, from her experience as the younger woman to an older man.
Yeah.
But why does it seem like a woman gets judged significantly more harshly when she's the older one and she's dating a younger guy?
Why is that?
I don't know, but I'm just going to tell you,
double standards.
Double standard. I haven't dated anybody younger. In fact,
I did that too.
Well, what was the age range?
10 years.
10 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How old were you and how old was he?
I was 32. He was 22.
Okay.
And I don't know how to describe it other than, I mean, I had a lot of energy at 32, but not like he did. And, he had the extra cup of testosterone going on, and I was raising 2 kids, and, it was fun and games for him, but I had a real responsibility in my life, and I was a single mother, and it lasted, I think, 2 weeks. And I was like, dude, I can't do this. I can't keep up with you. Don't want to. No.
Well, and so that's funny. So I'm going to share a story. So we have a friend who was married for many, many years and went through a pretty messy divorce. And in those early years, right after her divorce, she had mentioned to us that she was dating somebody significantly younger than her. And, it was all fun and games because it was super after a stressful divorce that involves children and all of that stuff, you kind of need an opportunity to kind of let your hair down, right, for a minute.
What do they say? You can't get over somebody till you get under somebody?
Right.
Sorry.
So anyway,
sorry.
So she decided to date this guy, and they were probably dating for, I don't know, a year and a half. I'm not exactly sure, but what she said to me that it was fun. They had a great time.
Yeah.
And when she realized that she was really facing some, adult problems. She had 2 kids at home. She has a full-time career. She's like actually
going and getting mammograms.
Yeah, like actual adult problems. And when she realized that, like, he would literally just sit there and be like, "Oh, well, that sucks," and offered zero,
well,
like
he
no
didn't
solution,
have any point of reference.
Well, he didn't.
All.
He didn't. But that's when I would say for a woman, if you are dating someone younger, because I do have some friends that do go younger, but in most of those cases, I don't see them marrying the person and having kids with them. It's really more of they went through a messy divorce and just wanted to let their hair down and have a little fun.
Yeah.
And so usually it's that kind of thing. And usually the younger guy doesn't mind. Doesn't mind.
They don't mind. They don't know any different.
They don't. Right. They don't care. They're whatever. But here's the thing.
They're getting a good home cooked meal and getting tucked in at bed at night.
Okay, when it's the other way around, here's my standpoint on it. Again, this is not coming from a place of judgment.
No.
This is coming from a place of I don't understand.
I don't either.
When a girl is, usually in her early 20s, I'm just going to say between 20 and 25, because those are the stories that I feel like we hear the most of, right? Someone is between 20 or 25, and they are dating somewhere between a 45 and a 55-year-old, something like that. 20 to 25-year age gap. I just don't get it. I don't understand it because I feel like when we're in our 20s, we don't know anything about who we are, what we want for our lives. Like, you think you know, but you really don't. So if
I think it goes to that point that these guys are established,
and it looks attractive.
It looks attractive, and even if they're not that established, even if they don't even have that much, it's still more than you have as a 25-year-old. I mean, they probably got a house. They may have a boat. They may, get to take you to, a fancier restaurant than you've been to before, something better than McDonald's.
Yeah. But that's kind of for me, I guess, if you're in your early 20s, like I got married super young. I was 23 when I got married, but I married somebody who was 6 months younger than me. So we were at the same stage of life. And so as you go on in your relationship, you're learning things together, right? And how it happened for us, you spend all these years together and you grow apart. You become 2 completely different people, but you went through the process together because neither one of you knew who you were anyway, right? So then you grow up and you grow out of it, right?
Yeah.
But when you are at that age where you're in your early 20s and you're with somebody who's 45 or 55 or whatever, I feel like how do you navigate that? I don't really feel like you get to learn. You don't get to kind of go through those stages and seasons.
I may say something that ruffles some feathers or whatever, but I kind of feel like that in that kind of situation that 25-year-old is kind of like a piece of clay that's very moldable, and you can kind of make her fit into what you want her to be. I think you have to have money to do that. But my deal with it is, it's fine when you're 25 dating somebody that's 45. The 20-year difference isn't that big of a deal then. But Add 10 years to that, add 20 years to that, add 30 years to that. Now all of a sudden, you're 55 and he's 75.
Or 80.
Or 80. And men have a lot of different traits at that age than they do when they're 45. And you are just at the right age to be a caretaker when probably if he had a daughter that would be that age would be doing that, or a wife that is in better health than he is. And women typically outlive their husbands. They just do. So I don't know. I was talking to a girl not too long ago, and she was married to a guy. So she is maybe a couple of years older than my eldest son. So she's probably 41-ish. And her husband is the same age as Jay. And Jay is 64. So we're looking at 23, 24 years. They got a divorce. And I was asking her, I know it was probably great when y'all first got together, but did that age gap seem to widen? And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. She didn't have any idea what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about the age gap. I know they stayed the same amount of years apart.
Right.
But in physicality and behavior,
interests
and energy, and even, food that you want to eat, things just change. And even the level of the TV needs to get louder when you get older. And if your hearing isn't going to...
Well, even the programming is different.
I mean, you go to your parents' house when they're older and you're like, "Go, Mom and Dad keep the house so hot."
Yeah.
Well, it's because we're cold all the time. And I speak now from a different place of experience because I'm in my 60s and I am freezing all the time. And I didn't used to be freezing all the time.
Right.
But
that's me now. I'm freezing all the time.
Jay's only 3 years older than me, and we're both sitting on the couch watching TV at night covered up in blankets in the middle of summer when it's 110 degrees outside. So I'm like, gosh, we need to build a fire. It's freezing.
But see,
but it's that this is just the evolution. And I'm curious because that just seems hard to me.
It does. It seems hard to me. Now I'm going to use you and Jay as an example.
Okay.
And this is for me. Everybody knows I'm dating, and everybody knows that I have 2 teenage kids. And there's a couple things that I wanted to share. So number one, her and Jay, is the same kind of age gap that I believe in personally, because I want to be with somebody that speaks my language, that has the same point of reference. We grew up together. I'm a Gen Xer, right? So the experiences of how we grew up, how we were raised, we were a totally different generation.
Oh, yeah.
And, the movies, the music, the television shows, all the different things that we can relate to and have conversations about,
when did that generation end?
So 1980 is when it changes over from Gen Xers to millennials. Now when I'm dating,
you kind of caught the tail end of it.
I caught the tail end of it. So when I'm in the dating apps and you can put your age range in there, I have modified it so many different times because first I had a 5-year younger and a 5-year older. So I gave myself a 10-year, I'm in the middle, and 5 years younger, 5 years older. And as I started talking to people, I realized that the ones that were younger on the 4 and 5 years, we didn't have as much in common. And then the ones that were older, the 53, 54, 55, couldn't keep up with me.
Right.
They are, of course, I haven't met every single 53, 54, and 55-year-old, but generally speaking, it was out of sync for me. Yeah. And so for me, I have found it that if we went to high school together, whether that was I was a freshman and they could be all the way as old as much of a senior, or if I'm a senior and they could be, as much of as low as a freshman.
Yeah.
We went to high school together. I at least somebody mentioned that, and I think it was maybe on social media or something, and it kind of stuck with me because then you do have a lot of similarities, commonalities, generational, a lot of things that you can still relate to, and it feels a little bit more kind of normal and comfortable for me. Now, if you're outside of that, I'm just kind of feeling like I don't know how that look. we are interested to hear from women and from men. No judgment.
You do your thing.
This is our conversation of curiosity. Yeah. We want to hear from men or women that have been in this type of situation. And I want to hear actually both things. If you're in a successful relationship with somebody significantly older or younger than you, or if you were in a relationship that didn't work out, that you were in with somebody significantly older or younger. Now, let me tell you a little story. This comes from my dating experience. When I decided to expand my age range, to older, here I'm thinking, because another thing I always say is I don't want to date anybody that has kids that are single digits or elementary age, because mine are 14 and 17. So I will do teenage or above. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm very clear about that. So I was talking to a 54-year-old, which it was a brief conversation, maybe lasted 2 minutes, because once he told me that he was 54 years old and had a 25-year-old from his first marriage, and then had an 8-year-old from his second marriage, because he married a 20-something in his mid-40s. She wanted to have a baby. He thought he was done. She wanted to have a baby. And then 4 or 5 years into the relationship, she decided that she didn't want him anymore.
Right, because
now she's 30 and he's 50-something. Yeah. And that's exactly what your example was. That's exactly what we're talking about.
I was married to a guy who was 13 years older than me.
Yep.
And I still, to this day, we realized that we were always meant to just be friends. And I still am friends with him to this day. But I can't imagine being married to him now, because...
And that's just 13.
13 years.
Which doesn't seem...
Our energy levels and our activity levels and just everything, we have zero in common. Zero. And I love him to death. So, but I'm thankful that we realized that wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
For us, it may be good for you. I know some people who are in marriages that there is this big, huge age gap. All the people that I know, the guy's older than the woman.
Which is more common.
It is.
It's more common.
It's more accepted.
Yes, for sure,
in
more
society. But I'm just curious. Some of them look really happy. Some of them I can't tell if they're really happy.
Yeah.
Some of them could tell me it's none of your business, and it's not. It's you go do you, boo. It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You're the one that has to deal with all that.
Right.
We don't.
Right.
We're okay over here.
But I even watched my mom with my stepdad. They've both passed, but there was a 5 or a 6 year age difference with them, and he got really sick with diabetes. It ravaged his body, and it wore my mother out taking care of him. So if you're 20, 25 years younger and you've got an elderly husband or wife, you're going to be the caretaker. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't see that. Definitely not.
It's just, I guess that my main message in this is, why would you do that when you could avoid it? And you could have somebody here, like, Jay and I, our energy meets each other.
Right.
And
right.
So, we try to manifest that we're going to die at the same time, because we're so close in age, and we both have the same level of taking care of. Jay doesn't eat as healthy as I do. He eats too much fried food, but he's got the metabolism that allows him to not get fat. I do not. I look at a piece of fried chicken and I gain 10 pounds. I wish that he would eat better, and you're going to be watching this, and I've already had this conversation with you, so...
You know what? So I'm going to say this because I think this is important. When you are around the same age, which is, again, talking about the partnership, I think that stuff is really important, where you really should be trying to live your life together.
Yes.
Right? And that means healthy.
Yep.
Right? With the same habits, both being active.
Yep.
It's not going to work out well. Even if you're, regardless of age, it wouldn't work out well if you are, if you lived with the same habits that he had, that would not be in your best interest.
No.
Interest health-wise.
But I have to have a lot of discipline
right.
to live with that.
But he also is active with you.
He's
you guys
very
do your
active.
walks together. It's not like he's eating all this crap and then just sitting on the couch.
No.
He's not. He's very active, which I think is important.
He's way more active than I am. He can make me exhausted. I mean, one time Bette asked us to go salsa dancing with her, and I do think Jay would have gone, but he knew that I wasn't gone. And so we were like, okay, what time do we need to meet you there? And Bette was like, meet us there at 10:30. The doors open at 11. Jay looked at me, and then he said, we're not going. I knew I wasn't going to go.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about, why I don't want to date anybody that's like significantly older than me, because I mean, for me,
could you imagine dating a 64-year-old?
No, I love Jay. I love Jay, but I also, for me, think of Jay as more of a parental figure.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have love and respect for Jay and for Julz too. And I mean, you know, my dad is significantly older than them. So it's not like, you know, not my dad, but there's still a level of like
wisdom and maturity.
Yes. And there's authoritative, like, you know, there's something. I don't even know what to call it, but there's definitely something there.
There's a trust.
Yes, there is.
He's such a stand-up guy at this point, which is another factor to consider. Like, you go through so much in your life, and by the time you're 45, you've gone through quite a bit.
Yeah.
So dating a 25-year-old who...
What can you... I don't even understand how you relate at all. What kind of conversation is that?
It's a parental kind of a deal. It's weird.
Oh,
I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm not going to say it's weird. I just said it was weird.
Yeah. Okay. No.
It's foreign to me. That's the word I'm really looking for. It's very foreign, and I'm just thankful that I'm with someone. I'm glad that I just read this thing on Facebook, and I really want to talk about it. And it's taking the opportunity to walk through the fire to transform yourselves and getting to know yourself. And I don't know. I'm going to speak from where I was at in dating older men. I had a daddy-shaped hole in my heart. And I think that an older man represented kind of a parental authority, somebody that was going to take charge, take care of things, when I was the one that needed to look in the mirror and not allow the things that had happened in my life to rule me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, that is her personal experience. It could be possible that maybe some other people are feeling something similar, which is why they venture out into that kind of age range. But it could also mean that that's just what you're attracted to and that's what you want.
Right.
Totally fine.
It could be that they have a lot of money and that's what you're attracted to.
It could be.
I mean, I'm just going to be real. Because sometimes I see a situation and it's very clear.
Very clear.
To me.
You don't have to know anything about
it.
No, absolutely. I
saw another post on some social media, and it was a beautiful, you know, she looked like a Victoria's Secret model, and she was with this little old man who had no teeth. And
I remember that.
Did you see that?
You sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. And this reporter was asking her, what was the attraction? And she said, oh, it was his smile. And he smiles, and he has no teeth. So we're not stupid.
And that was not a 20-year age difference. I think that was like a 40-year age difference.
Oh, absolutely.
It was so...
Do you think it was real?
Maybe it wasn't real. Maybe it was. No, I do believe that it happens. I believe that it happens. But I don't know.
And you hear a lot of... There's posts, and I think they're trying to be funny, but I think there's a lot of reality and seriousness to them where the woman is holding a poodle, you know, with a Lamborghini behind her, and she's like, don't marry, what does she say? It's easier to be married to the guy who gives you a Lamborghini versus a Honda.
She said you're going to be crying. You're going to be crying, so it's better to cry in a Lamborghini than it is to cry in a Honda.
That is not the truth. I also have experience in that, and I'm not saying that people with money can't be awesome. They can be. And I don't want to have a negative relationship with money because if I do that, it's going to block my blessing and then I can't be a blessing to others. So just be smart.
Just be smart.
Just take your blinders off.
Yes, take your blinders for sure.
Have some foresight. And I mean, I at this point in my life, Betty laughs at me, my sister, everybody laughs at me because I can go dark real fast. And if you aren't able to have that kind of foresight, I will bring it into the light for you quickly.
Yep.
I really will.
Yeah, we had an episode before where she just literally right here in 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, she went dark real quick. And you guys got to see it. So it's true. But it's just because she's using the power of the foresight, right?
Yeah, I am.
It's making sure that, you're considering all the things that could happen.
Everything and just understand, we don't have a crystal ball, but you kind of do.
Right.
And you need to understand what the potential is for what you may have to deal with and live through.
And on that note, this is where I'm going to add in this story time. So when I mentioned already the 54-year-old that I met on a dating app that ended up with an 8-year-old kid. And he was not expecting at 54 to be raising when he has a 25-year-old and thought that he was going to be done, but then now has all this. Now, this is not about the kid, right? So I just want to make it clear.
Right.
This is not about the kid. Kids are blessings. And the kid was not an oops, so it was
right.
Planned. But here's what the issue is. If you are not using your foresight, if you are not actually thinking through the situation, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, if you get into a relationship with somebody that has a significant age difference and now you're trying to talk about having kids, what does that look like? And I'll throw in a little story specifically because in this situation, I met somebody on the dating app and we're actually the same age. We're the same age. Here's where the problem comes in. I have 2 teenage kids. Everybody knows I don't want any kids, and I'm not going to have any more kids, and I'm not going to raise anybody else's kids either.
No littles.
No littles. So
she knows that she's going to meet some guys who probably have kids.
Oh, I'm okay with kids.
Right.
But
right. They can't be itty bitties.
They can't be itty bitties. No. I want them to be teenagers or older because that's my stage of life. Mm-hmm. That's where I am.
Smart.
So
Very smart.
We need to align in that. So this guy that I was talking to, he is my age and hasn't decided whether or not he wants to have kids yet. And so
you should know if you want to have kids.
You should know that.
If you're between 45 and 50, honestly, that window of opportunity has, you should know.
You should know. But here's the thing. The thing is that, he was very unsure, which, to be honest, is really not that attractive because if you don't know... Yeah. What are we doing? I have said many, many times, and I say this to people that I'm interacting with. I'm very clear. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. I'm not here to waste your time. Don't waste mine. And I know for a fact I have a list of things, not because I'm high maintenance, but because I am dating with intention and purpose. Mm-hmm. And I know what's going to work for me because I have foresight. So I know. Well, because he didn't know, I said, okay, well, I hope you understand that I'm not your girl. Because it's very clear, if you're not sure, there is no reason for us to maintain anything or try to move it further down the road. That is a huge life decision. So at that moment, I recommended, we're in our mid 40s, right? Maybe a little more on the, maybe I shouldn't say mid anymore because it's more on the other.
She's struggling with some things.
I'm struggling. Anyway, so let's just say
it's going to be okay.
We're in our mid 40s. And so for this guy, I said, if you really think that you want to have kids, you need to be dating somebody in their 30s.
Yeah.
And I actually think that makes way more sense. Mm-hmm. You do not hook up with a 45-plus-year-old girl and then say that you might want to have kids. That's where
you are treated like a geriatric.
Yes.
I had my last baby when I was 37, and I was treated like a geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's very high risk. I had my first one when I was 21, and then I had my last one when I was 37. And let me tell you, that light went off. Let me tell you. Hold on. Okay. And let me tell you that it is a younger woman's game.
Right.
But if you haven't had kids when you were 21, and you wait and you're 37, then you still have that energy because you haven't expanded it.
Right.
On that.
But that was your third.
That was my third, and it kicked my ass.
Right.
I love him so much. But I remember looking at him. He was sitting in his bouncy seat. We had just gotten home from the hospital, and he was crying. And I was like, all right, this is how you're going to be for the next 5 years. Well, he actually ended up being like that for a lot longer than 5 years.
Like 21 years.
And I adore him. He is precious.
We both love him.
I love him so much. And he calls me every single day, and we just visit and visit. And I'm so thankful for him. But that was a situation where me and his father spoke about it early on in the relationship. We didn't want any kids. He didn't want to have any. And this is a big deal, so listen up.
That's what she's about to say is a sneak peek into what the next episode is. Go ahead.
So I had a situation come up health-wise, and my doctor said, if you guys want to have babies, then you better get on it because this window's about to close. Closing. And I just went home and told him about the conversation with the doctor about my health, and he all of a sudden decided that he wanted to have a baby. Well, I had a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old, and my 10-year-old had special needs, and I'd gone through a lot in his first 5 years, and I was really at a place of just being able to breathe and have some freedom. And he said that if you decide not to have a baby for me, then I'm going to have to find somebody who will. Now, the reason that this is so relevant is you don't want to get into a relationship when they're telling you, I don't know if I want to have a baby or not. In my case, he said he didn't, but he changed his mind. I'm glad that we did because now I've got my beautiful boy and I can't imagine my life without him. But it's not what I would have chosen.
Right. Right. So that's what we're talking
about.
And
we don't need any resentment flying up down the road, them saying, I told you, and then we just kept forging ahead, and now you've taken that opportunity away from me.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it becomes very messy. It becomes very messy. So for me, I think that the point of even bringing up the story is that you need to be very clear about what you want. And if it is that you are a 40-something and you're looking to have a baby, you may need to go 10 years younger. Yeah. You might need to go 12 years younger. But what my lack of understanding, confusion is why somebody feels that they can relate to someone and build a life with somebody that's 25 years plus younger, when I feel like that's a whole different world. But anyway, again, to each their own.
Do.
To each their own. They do.
Yep.
They do.
I'm glad that I didn't.
Yeah. So again, whether you're the older one or the younger one, we want to hear feedback. She has experience. I have never dated anyone. I mean, I dated during my post-divorce dating, I dated somebody that was maybe 6 years older, but I mean, that was super short-lived, maybe, a couple dates here and there. But I've never had a serious relationship with anybody that was, I'm trying to think, nobody was more than 2 or 3 years older.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then the person that I was married to was my age.
Yeah.
So
I have experience in just about anything. I don't feel like there's a scenario in life that somebody could talk to me about that I haven't gone through. That some of that is good and some of that is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I believe, I just read it today actually in my devotion, that God uses the most messed up people that he can find to help other people. And I'm so glad that I'm in the Word that way, and I'm not messed up anymore. I've healed myself and gone on a journey of healing, and I am laying this mess of my life out on the table for all the world to see. And I don't want to offend anyone with that. It's my journey, and I speak only from places of experience. It's not an opinion. And I love everybody and I support everybody, and I want everybody to do what they want to do to be happy. And if somebody tells me that they're this way or they behave in a certain way, I take them at face value now because I learned the hard way to ignore. And so I'm so proud of Bette for really hearing this guy and releasing him out into the wilderness of childbearing and wanting to raise children. I mean, he needs to go do that, and she doesn't deserve any kind of resentment that can come.
Oh yeah, I will not accept it. I will not accept anybody to tell me that I robbed them of some opportunity because they weren't clear and didn't set themselves up for what they wanted, because I have set myself up for what I want. And so for me it was very, very clear, I'm not your girl. You go that way, I'll go this way. And so that ended very quickly. But really in that case, because he was in his later 40s, mid 40s, and hadn't made up his mind yet, like, you're talking to the wrong demographic now. That's how I felt. Like, you're talking to the wrong class of like women. And so you knew what my age was, and you knew the ages of my kids. You can't have that with me.
But his whole scenario was very vague. I mean, it just was. Yeah. He didn't know if he wanted to have kids, but he wanted to raise someone else's kids.
It was
very confusing.
It was clear as mud. That's what it was. I love that expression.
That was it.
Clear as mud.
I mean, even Jay and I were like, "What is he what's he trying to say?" We couldn't figure it out, and you don't want to get in that either.
Well, yeah, and so that created other issues because there's no clarity. No. So you have this big, huge question mark looming over your head, and because I have her experiences and all of her stories running through my head, I knew for a fact, oh no, I'm not getting caught up in that. I'm not going to get caught up in that. And then 3 to 5 years down the road, well, oops, well now I want one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and it's your fault.
I mean, I don't want one today.
Because
I'm not going to want one 3 to 5 years from now. Yeah. No. Not happening.
We're in the these are the days to, children transition out of being children to being your friends, and those are just truly wonderful days.
Yeah. And my kids are, on the path, 14 and 17, thinking about my daughter who only has, 2 summers left at home, as a kid.
Yeah.
2 summers left. And then she's going to be on her way and building her life. And I want the absolute best for her. I want her to travel the world. I want her to live in different places. So,
You want her to be like my niece.
Yeah, I do. She's awesome. Her niece, I love her. But
shout out to my niece.
But there are so many things that like I am thinking about right now with my kids, and I'm thinking about the amount of time that I have with them. But I also am very proud of like thinking about who they're becoming, who they're going to be, what life they're going to build, and I want that for them.
Yep.
But there is no chance that I want to start over.
No.
With somebody's 2 and 3-year-old or 5-year-old or whatever. No way.
Well,
no way.
I mean, let me just add, Zoe is, your daughter's 16.
Yeah. Well, she's about to be 17 in a few weeks.
Could you imagine having a baby right now?
Hell no.
That's how
I'm very clear.
That's how old my eldest son was when I had a baby.
Yeah.
And 16-year-old and newborn don't go together in any capacity. We would go out to dinner and people didn't know if I was a cougar. They didn't know if I was a grandma. They didn't know if it was his kid or my kid and that's the mess that you get into.
Yeah.
But it is a great form of birth control for a 16-year-old in your house. I can tell you that. They're like, oh no, I know what that's like. I'm going to wait on that one. So that's one of the really good things.
Well, that's funny because that happened to another friend of mine. Well, we're venturing out into something else, but that happened to another friend of mine.
But you don't want that big of an age gap.
You don't
between your kids.
Don't. Mine, I have a 3-year age gap with my kids.
Yeah.
And even 3. I thought 3 was good, but I mean, like my sister, her kids are 2 years. And then my niece and nephew, they're 18 months. So it's like somewhere between the, 18 months to 3 years, I think is pretty normal and like doable, where they end up becoming friends and they want to hang out and all of that. If it's too wide, like my brother, my oldest brother and me were 9 years apart, and I never felt like he was my brother. He felt more of like a, authoritative kind of a father parental
And he felt
figure.
That way too.
And he felt that way too. So it just, now we're older, and now I feel like we have so much more in common now, and now we can have conversations and all that. But, it took us 40-something years to get here because it never felt like I had, and my other brother is only 12 or 13 months behind him.
Yeah.
So that age gap really kind of
So it's really,
dictates.
the age gap is kind of in all areas. It really dictates the kind of relationship.
Yep. With
It
your
just
siblings,
changes
with
the
your spouse.
dynamic
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, our
time is up. But again, share your stories. So here we are talking about our stories. We talk about our examples. A lot of times we're sharing stories from our friends, what we've heard, what we've learned. But at the same time, if there's an area such as this one where I never married anybody that was 10, 15, 20 years older than me or younger than me.
Well, y'all know I did.
Well, she did. She
I
did.
married a lot of people.
But I want to hear about people that feel like, yes, it absolutely can work, because even for her,
I think it can work.
I want to hear about success stories. I want to hear, can it work? And I want to hear about it from the place of 20, 25 years down the road, not newlyweds, because that doesn't tell me what I want to know.
No.
I want to know if you were in your 20s and you married somebody that was in their 40s and their 50s, and now it's 20, 25, 30 years later and you're still married. I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Call us, text us, send us an email. Our email, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. Our email is hello@bettyandjulz.com, BETTE.
And I'm JULZ.
Or you can put some comments down below. But this is a conversation that people are talking about it. Things happen around the world. I'd love to talk more about it.
And we're not putting anybody down again.
Not at all.
And
not at all.
I just like to say we're not doctors or anything
We're
like
not doctors.
that.
We're not lawyers. We're therapists. We're just two girls that like to talk a lot.
Yeah.
And we just have a lot of things to say. We have opinions. We feel strongly on certain things. And then we're also curious about other things, and we just want to talk about them. Mm-hmm. And we also, think that we're pretty fun to hang out with, and we want to, invite you into our space. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's all.
We
just want to really just help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
I really just want somebody to take something that we say that can maybe make a difference or make you go, ooh, make you think about a situation that you're in. You know that it's probably not right because you've got a gut feeling, and it's okay to let it go.
It's okay.
So
it's okay. So we thank you so much for being a part of, for spending a part of your day with us. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
See you later. Bye.